Hello, hello. Hi. Welcome back. Welcome in. Hello, everyone. Hi, Kibia. Hi, Tara. Nice to see you. Hope everybody's doing well. Man, it is warm. It's a bit toasty today. It's one of those kind of uncomfortably humid days. The night was horrible last night. It was like muggy, kind of humid, like that uncomfortable feeling in the air. I could not sleep for the life of me. I didn't get to sleep till about 4 in the morning. So, gotta love that. So if I seem a little bit more delirious than usual, that'll be why. But I'm still alive and I'm still here, so we have that going for me at least. But anyway, hello everybody. I hope you're all doing well. It's nice to see everyone again. Yeah, I put a message in Discord, kind of short notice, but I have a teeny weeny change of plans for today from what I scheduled, because I found a video on YouTube and I was like, ooh, that looks interesting. I'll watch that for the React segment today. Hi, Valoria. So I found this video and I was thinking, why not just do that? Here, let me show you. Let me oh well, we've got ads coming up here in just a second. Damn. Gun the ads. Here, let me show you just really quickly just what we have here. Let me just switch over. It's not that one. Okay. Why is that not working? Okay, that's wrong. There we go. Yeah, so I found this just kind of randomly, and I was thinking, well, I'm interested because I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to the original Super Mario Bros., the way that this game has been broken down and like optimized and stuff like that, it's weirdly fascinating to me. I'm absolutely in love with hearing crazy shit about this game. Because at the end of this day, this game is extremely simple. It has a grand total of 2 power-ups, and the controls are limited to run and jump, and that's it. Such a simple game, yet it's been broken down so effectively. So I was kind of interested in that, and I thought, rather than watching it in my own time, why don't I do it for today's React segment? It's about an hour long, so the stream might be a little bit short today, but I did say that I was going to start doing shorter Sunday streams anyway, so that kind of works out. But I think it'll be a little more interesting than just more Daily Dose stuff, so there we go. The joys of my YouTube for You page is literally just every so often it will throw a video at me that I think, oh, that's interesting, and I should really save them more often to watch on stream. So that's what I'm doing. So hopefully that'll give us an interesting hour or so of watching stuff. This stream probably won't be that much longer than like 2 hours, maybe 2 hours 30, depending on how much yapping I do today, especially in the middle of the video as well, because we know that I like to pause and briefly yap here and there. So we'll see how that goes. I do have my fan on me once again today, so if at any point you hear a strange whirring noise coming through my mic, that's what that is. But anyway, let's let the Wordle prediction time out, and then I will get started with that. Does anybody have a starting word that they would like to they would like to suggest today. Maybe something slightly better than what Amerio likes to give me at times, with the complete jumble of letters. If I could put into Wordle, I absolutely would. But I don't think that'll work, unfortunately. Whoa. Should we test the interrupt? Let's give the interrupt a test.
The shape goes into a shape press that presses the shape into a pressed shape.
There we go. There we have it. I love that one because it's so stupid. I gotta find more stupid stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff I still been meaning to do with Mix It Up that I just haven't gotten around to yet. I keep meaning to add more 7TV sounds. For example, like this one, I need to add a sound to it. And then I also keep meaning to collect a bunch of sus audios and put them on a command with Mix It Up. That's going to be a little bit more challenging because I want to try and figure out making it put a chat message in for each individual one as well. But I don't know how to do that just yet when it's selecting random, so I'll figure it out. This is good news. Yeah, I remember hearing that you, excuse me, that you injured your finger. So it's good to hear that it's doing better. We're finally free from ad hell, by the way. Oh, that's a perfectly timed bot. A bot, yay? Huh. That was not me. I didn't type that one. You can hear my keyboard loud and clear. That's just spectacular timing. I can do this though. Right, prediction has 20 seconds left, so I'll switch over to Wordle here, and we'll I don't have a starting word suggestion yet, so I'll wait for another like 20-30 seconds, and if nobody has one, then I'll come up with one myself. And there it goes. I'll give you a brief amount of time to make a suggestion if you would like to, for our starting Wordle of today. Bro, I've been using this this one background track on loop because it's just that good, and it doesn't cause any random ass copyright claims, so that's also pretty nice. There's another one in the recommended right down here. Maybe I'll start gathering them. I'm not seeing any suggestions, so I'll come up with my own. Hi, welcome in. Thank you for the first time chat. OL? I'm not 100% sure how to say that, so I think it's OL, or if there is another way to pronounce it, please let me know. But welcome in. Very good, very good. We're just getting started with our regular scheduled programming of Wordle. Let's start with Cloud. Oof, very good, very good. Thank you, Tara, for the Discord command there. Filling in for Kibia. Okay, so we're doing pretty well here so far. Those damn clankers. Trouble is, there's no S. So... Oh, is it? Yeah, that's true. No, it's not. It's not a name. It's not a name. It's just clack, maybe. There it is. Fully greens. Nice one. We have a sea of greens, as they call it on Wordle. That's the nice easy prediction there. Let's see. There we go. As I say, when it comes to Wordle, believers always prosper. Every time. Except for one or two very rare cases. Who else voted there? Because there were three of you in total, but it only put somebody must have had a 0 bet. Anyway, let's get a prediction up for connections here as we move into that one. I'll give you 5 minutes for that one if you want to put any bets on me winning or losing this game. I would advise you bet against me because I'm not very good at that one. I'll leave this screen on in the meantime. Thank you for the follow, OL. Appreciate that. Wait, that brings us up to the funny number. Hold on. There it is. 69 followers. Nice. That's the funny number. There we go. Very good. Gotta love it. Very proud to be the 69th follower. Wear it with pride. Wear it with pride. I've been waiting to hit the funny number for a while here. Very big, very nice. Appreciate that. Damn. It's okay, maybe Hundo will jump in at some point and go against my advice to save his money as he usually does, and you'll get another gifted. Right, we'll just wait for the prediction to time out here in case anybody else wants to put a bet down on me winning or losing connections. That's a brave bet from you, Tara. Betting in my favor, 500 in my favor, no less. Well, it's usually random is the issue, so you might just accidentally receive a gifted if somebody if someone drops any. Hold on, who just put another 500 on it was Kibia, 600 on betting in my favor. That's a lot of points riding on me winning this game today. Kibia's just lurking in the background, just betting a crazy amount of channel points on me winning this game, despite the fact that I have a consistent track record of being absolutely terrible at it. Yeah, get ready to lose those 600. And Kibia's lurking, so he's not here to help me out either. He's not here to give me any help. You should get channel points when you follow, so you can bet those. Though there are some countries where they have channel points disabled, so your bet will be 0. But channel points are the little thing that you get for watching every couple minutes. Forget exactly how it works. It's the little bubble icon in the corner of the chat box. In case you are not aware. Yeah, you get 300 when you follow, and then you get 10 for every like 5 minutes watched or something like that. And then you get 50 as like a bonus every so often. So yeah, the prediction bets are completely free. is the consensus here. You know what? I should do the proper streamer thing and ramble about also having a VOD channel, so you can go back on past broadcasts if you want to over on YouTube. We have an archive for them if you're interested in that sort of thing, but not a big deal if you're not either. Like I say, it's just an archive, because the thing about Twitch is, as affiliate, the VODs disappear after 14 days, I think it is, so it's just a nice place to store them somewhere where they won't be lost. And, you know, sometimes people like to go back on stuff they missed or a moment they enjoyed. I mean, Kibia will probably end up being a VOD watcher today if he's lurking while playing a game. Excuse me. There's the prediction timed out, so let's begin. Okay, we have a few. Let me check the difficulty rating for today. They put it in the in here. Let's see what we got. 2.2 out of 5. So a little higher than yesterday. I mean, yesterday Kibia basically solved this whole puzzle. That was entirely on. That was entirely down to him. He takes all the credit for that one. Perfectly timed jar from the bot. Gotta love it. Okay. Let's see. I'm thinking seed sack pip. As in, obviously a seed you grow a plant from, a pip that you grow a tree from, a sack of spores maybe? So we're thinking plant terms, like things that plants grow from, or fungi in the case of a spore sack. I don't know if seed sacks exist, but probably. I would assume they do. Just looking for the last one in that line. I don't think it would be den. I don't think it would be dot. What is pho? Let me define that. It is Vietnamese noodle soup. I see. Okay, so it's a food stuff. Is there anything else? Or is it just the food stuff? Yeah, noodle soup. Again, it's still food. They should still be available to you. Yeah, I mean, I have my chat open on a browser and I can see them here. I mean, the only other thing I can think of is maybe you live somewhere that has certain gambling laws and channel points are counted amongst them. We've had a couple instances of that where a couple people live in places that have like gambling laws and they count channel points despite the fact that channel points are free. And there are some places that like Twitch bans them, and yeah, Megamin and Lunama have that as well. Yeah, so that's a possibility, but well, they they definitely should be. That's strange. Yeah, if you're yeah, I don't know then. I don't know what's maybe... Yeah, maybe something's just wrong with your browser, or it's like, it's not encoding Twitch properly, but... Not sure what that would... Yeah, because I've got it here as well, and I'm using a browser. Hmm. Oh, hi Hondo. You just missed the bet. There's 1.1k points on me winning this game today. Nice to see you though. Hope you're doing well. Hmm. Yeah, I've got like I'm so close, but I can't think of maybe Pit, but I don't think that has anything related to this kind of link here. Spree? Maybe? Let's try it. Let's just try a guess and see what we... Oh, it's not even one away. Okay, maybe I'm wrong about that then. Okay, maybe we try something else here then. I'm thinking nerd and study right off the bat. There's a lot of really weird words in here, actually. Mad. Dot. Yeah, there's some really strange word that... Yeah, I was thinking that as well. Maybe like nerd and runt, but... What else would go with that? Study, repeat, maybe? Similar words? In a certain definition, they can be used for similar. You can study something by repetitively doing it. Also, Hundo, we hit the big 69 followers. Got the funny number there. That's thanks to OL from today. Nice. Hi, Sora. Yeah, I'm thinking like sleep, study, repeat. If you were going off of that kind of that's because there's a phrase for that or something like that, but we don't have a final thing for it. I mean, study, repeat, again, kind of link into each other if you're thinking like repeat, if you're thinking studying something by repetitively doing it, but aside from that, I'm not sure. I mean, we have a noodle dish here, but that could be unrelated, considering it's just a food stuff. See, I was thinking like seed, pip, and sack for stuff that like, if you're thinking seeds and then maybe like a spore sack and then a pip, but apparently that wasn't even like a line of 3 when I guessed it, so maybe they're not related. I mean, does that have a definition I'm not thinking of when you spell it that way? Yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking. My brain, man. My brain is not prepared for this level of activity. I mean, nerd, runt, study, den, maybe? Den is in like a place that you would hide. but I really couldn't be sure about that one. Maybe, you know what, I'll try it and see if any of these are close. No. Screw it, let's take a hint. So one of them starts with stone. Okay. Okay, so I know that the easiest one is stone, so technically this shouldn't be difficult. I might take all of the hints just so I can single out a couple of words here. So, okay. So, stone will... This level won't include spree, it won't include sleep, and it won't include foe. So we single out 3 words there, but that still leaves a fair amount. Not sure where to go with this one. Maybe pit? Stone and pit might go together, maybe? If you're thinking of ground-related terms, but... not really 100% sure about that. You know what? This is kind of a stretch here. But I'm thinking of like things embedded in the ground, maybe. Things that you would find like buried in the ground, or at least sticking out of it, like or dug into it in a way. Maybe like a den and then a seed, if that makes sense. But I'm gonna hold off on that for now. Just for future reference, if you do know the answers, don't tell me them. Just because it kind of ruins the game a little bit. It's just but if you have a guess, that's fine. It's just if you actually know the answers, try to avoid spoiling them if possible. But you did give me that one, so I will use that one. It might, is it? Yeah, it is. Okay, I see. It's funny because it presents them out of order here, but that's quite amusing. Yeah, you're good. It's just in the future if you know the answer for certain. No spoilers. No help. But if you have a guess, that's fine. But yeah, I was thinking like things that you might find like ground related. Like you might find a stone sort of lodged into the ground. You might find a seed buried into the ground. You might find a pit dug out of the ground. Maybe a den that has been dug underground by an animal. That's kind of the line I'm thinking with that, but no, but that's one away. I've only got one guess left though. One away, so I'm wondering which one it is. It could be any one of these that is wrong. I know that stone is going to start one of these levels, so one of these groups. It's just I've only got one guess left and I can't be sure. No worries, Zoel. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate the follow as well. I gotta cat jam this real quick. Okay, so one of these is wrong, I just don't know which one. I know that stone is for sure going to be a, I mean, unless this isn't... No, because it has to be, because this has to be the one starting with stone. Because we have blue. So it's just that one of these is wrong, I just don't know which one. Maybe seed. Maybe seed is wrong, and we're thinking like stone, pit, den. But I don't know how those things could link, so... Pip, maybe? I don't know. Oh, I see. It's the reproductive part of a fruit. I forget that stone is another word for seed. For a certain... I think it's avocados, isn't it? That they have a stone instead of just a regular seed? Damn. That's a shame. There goes 1,000 points down the drain. Big oof. Anyway. Yeah, you could have got a ton of those points there. You literally just missed the prediction. Yeah, burning 500 points. Since you missed it, Hundo, I'm just gonna really quickly go over the slight change of plans that I've had for today, sort of last minute, that I was just talking about earlier. So I found, let me, hang on, come on. There we go. Right, I found this. This popped up in my recommended on my, my personal YouTube account, my private one that that will straight up dox me if I tell you the name of, so can't do that. But this popped up on my recommended, and I thought, ooh, this seems interesting because I love stuff that's related to Mario Bros. Especially this game when people are like breaking it down. Because I was saying it's such a simplistic game. It's such a simplistic game when you think about it. Literally, you have 2 power-ups, 3 if you count the Starman. You have very simple enemies, a very simple level system, and you have like your maximum controls. Your entire moveset is run and jump. And yet people have managed to break this game down repeatedly for years, and it's so fascinating to see how people do it. So when this video popped up in my recommended, I was thinking, well, why don't I just save it and react to it on stream for our react segment today instead of doing Daily Dose like we did last week. You've been around since the original NES. Olge. Let's get an Olge for that. But yeah, so it's this kind of thing really interests me. So, oh, was this? Hang on, this is not an April Fool's video. This was this released on like, yeah, this was released right next to the right before April Fool's of this month, so they had to specify that it's not that it's not an April Fool's. That's funny. But yeah, so I'm gonna get around to this. We'll get started with this now. Let me just pause the music. Let me turn my volume back up, and let's get started with this because I'm like, again, I'm very interested in this video. I really should. What I should do is I really should just like find videos in my recommended that interest me and just like save them for stream instead of watching them in my own time. I would probably have more reaction stuff to do. Anyway, let us begin, shall we? I do believe there's a sponsor segment in this video, but I'm actually going to let it play through because I'm thinking I'm reacting to this person's video. I might as well let their sponsor segment run through, let them get their bag. I feel like it would be courteous of me to put it one way. And to specify, this is after 40 years, huge new Mario glitch discovered by Cosmic. There we go. Bruh. Right, let's get into this, shall we?
Super Mario Bros. Is widely regarded as the most
How's
well-understood game.
how's the volume,
It's
by the
been
way?
picked apart. People have studied every line of code. Everything's been figured out.
Yeah, this is what I was talking
In speedruns
about.
for this game, the record has steadily been pushed toward perfection, but the known theoretical limit
Just the optimization of this game for speedruns, despite the fact that it seems so simple, it's been broken down basically pixel by pixel at this point.
it can go to hasn't budged
And it's
for
so
15
fascinating.
years. Everybody knows Super Mario Brothers, and it seems like we know pretty much everything about Super Mario Brothers. That's why it's a big deal if anything new.
Yeah, this is one of those games where people can confidently say that there isn't really much left to discover about this game. Like, it's one of those. It's a rare case of a game that is just like, it has been completely dismantled.
Is found in this
And
game.
it's
So,
it's
what
so
if
interesting.
I told you that we might have found not just something new in this game,
Just gonna
but
turn
the
my fan on,
biggest
so if you
thing,
hear it coming
the
through my
biggest
mic, that's
thing
what
you
that
could
is.
find. See, there's a particular exploit that's
XTC
possible in some
dismantled,
games
bro.
called arbitrary code execution.
Oh,
And
we're
it's
gonna
the
get
whole
we're gonna get some complicated explanations of stuff I hear. I'm sure. No doubt here. So we'll do our best to
holy
keep
grail
up.
of glitches. People will make lists to track every game that it's found in. It's a really fascinating technique and a big deal when it's possible in any game.
You know,
really
I've seen like
Fast-
clips of this glitch before. I've listened to an explanation of what the hell is going on here, and I still don't even remotely understand what's actually happening in this glitch. But I know that this is something that you can do to beat the game sooner than you're supposed to in Super Mario Bros. 3. Okay, thank you to LumenBot for who asked.
fascinating technique.
Bro, if this was, I wish I had a real person to yell at every time it did shit like that.
People will make
But it's
lists to
just a
track
bot
every game
picking
that it's
random
found in.
stuff.
It's a really fascinating technique and a big deal when it's possible in any game. Last year, arbitrary code execution, or ACE
Yeah,
for short,
it's just it
was
knows,
found in the
dude. It just
Japanese Super Mario Bros. 2, aka The Lost Levels. And this year, we've been working on making it happen in SMB 1. In this video, I'll explain arbitrary code execution and the journey we've been on to make it happen in the original game. I'm not going to confirm right now exactly whether we've gotten it to work yet, but I promise it's
you can now play as Luigi.
not because I'm doing a YouTuber thing. That's
Bro, I
like,
love that
make
Super
sure you
Mario
watch till
Galaxy
the
thing.
end to find out.
It's been memed
No,
to death,
it's
but it's still
because
funny.
I want you to experience the same roller coaster ride that we've been on as we've tried to make this thing happen.
I can't
So
wait for my
buckle
brain
up,
to
because
completely
this is gonna
cook.
be an insane ride. This video is possible thanks to today's sponsor,
Yeah.
FlexiSpot.
Like I said, I'll let the
FlexiSpot
sponsor
makes
run
ergonomic
through
furniture,
because
and today we'll
we're
be
reacting to
focusing on the
somebody else's
C7
video,
Max.
and it
This
feels
thing
courteous to
really
let
has
them
all the
let them get
features
their
you could
bag,
dream of in an office chair.
so to speak.
A headrest,
But that
a
doesn't mean I'm not
footrest,
willing to
lumbar
yap
support,
over it.
and
So
it's all extremely
that's what I'm doing.
customizable. Like, seriously, move each piece
Those
to
look like
exactly
nice
where you want it.
desks.
I am super sure.
That is a nice desk. You know, I have the benefit of hindsight
but I could
with
still
the
get
way
the
that I've
headrest
structured my
and the
room.
lumbar support
I
in the
wish I
right
had done it
spot.
differently so I
If
could have got
either
an
of
L
these
desk,
aren't
but
hitting you right,
I
you
can't
can
fit
adjust
one
the
where
seat
I am
depth,
now, so
the backrest height,
oh well.
or move the headrest all around. And normally, I don't even attach the armrests onto my office chairs. They bump into my desk.
Bro, my
and
man
I
is-
like
my
to
man
sit
is
in
blocked
weird
in right now.
positions. But you can adjust the height on these. And
Bro,
put
I'm not gonna lie. Hang on,
them
I'll
in
just
any
keep going. I
position you
won't
want.
pause while
Plus,
I'm
this thing
yapping.
reclines,
The weird
so you can kick
positions
back and
comment,
relax when you
I
need a break.
absolutely relate
The
to that.
C7 Max is designed
completely.
for those who sit long
I,
hours
um,
during the day. And the model they sent
I
me
sit
has
in
this
some
mesh
bizarre
seat
positions
for
sometimes.
breathability
Probably
and
half
staying
the reason
cool.
my knee is
FlexiSpot
struggling so
has
much.
a 30-day return policy and a 10-year warranty. If you're interested, click the link
But,
in the description
yeah,
and
there
use
is
code
our-
C730
there is our
to get
courteous,
$30 off one
allowance
of
of
the C7
the
model
sponsor
chairs.
segment to run through. There we go.
All right, so I'm going to start off by explaining how Ace was discovered in Mario 2J and how it works, so you can understand and follow along with our
Leaves you vulnerable to ambush. That's funny.
attempts to make it happen in SMB 1. So, first
Yeah, my door is to my right, where I am. So I've got this little like alcove where I used to have a wardrobe, and we took the wardrobe apart and put a desk in here. And in hindsight, I kind of wish I had like slipped like a bed just sort of to be positioned like in this area and put my desk on the opposite side so I could have had more space, but hindsight is a bitch, isn't it?
First of all, who found this glitch? Was it the speedrun world record holder? Or the person who made the tool-assisted run? Was it a collaboration by the greatest minds in Mario speedrunning?
It's probably something completely
No,
random, isn't it?
It was one casual player, and his name is Luigi's Sidekick. Our journey starts off with him
Gotta
doing
love
a
it.
casual playthrough of Mario 2J.
Gotta
The
love it
Lost
when
Levels.
casual
He's
players
playing
find
it
like
through the
game-breaking
Nintendo
stuff
Switch
by
online
complete
service
accident.
and documenting his playthrough as he goes. Now, let me tell you, this guy was destined for greatness. During his playthrough, he despawned.
Should I play this game on stream? I don't think it would last very long, but I'd be happy to play this game because I have Nintendo Online, and it comes as part of the online membership, so I could play this game on stream at some point if that's something we would want to see.
Found this platform in 7.2 by accident. I'd never seen this before, and when
Hold on, what was
this
that?
guy was destined for greatness. During his playthrough, he despawned this platform in 7.2 by accident.
By accident.
I'd never seen this before, and when I
How?
tried to go replicate it, I had a tough time getting it to happen on purpose. Anyway, Luigi's Sidekick eventually arrived at 8.4, the final level of the main quest in this game. He's making his way through the stage, and
We
then...
have stuff to discuss later.
Huh,
Oh dear.
That's weird.
Oh god.
What happened? I think
Oh
most
lord.
of us would guess it's just some random error
Scourge.
or maybe an issue with the Switch Online service. But here's where the brilliant video game scientists come in. When they see something like this, there is one thing on their mind. Can this lead to Ace? Alright, it's time to talk more about Ace. What it is, how it works, and why people go looking for it when
Oh,
they
it's
see a
good
game
stuff?
crash
Okay,
like
that's
this.
good.
Ace, as I mentioned before, is
That's good
arbitrary
then.
code execution. The arbitrary here basically means we get to choose. So this glitch means we choose what code the game executes. You can basically
Interesting,
make the
okay.
game do whatever you want. That's why it's the holy grail of glitches. You may have seen some crazy examples of it in games like Pokemon, Zelda Ocarina of Time,
Well, that explains
or
the
in
name,
other 2D
but
Mario games like Mario World.
how it's done.
So, how does it work exactly?
Yeah, this is
There's
the part
some
that's going to
fundamental
break
principles
our
of computer
brains, I'm
science
sure.
that you'll need to understand here. But
Hold on.
There's some fundamental principles of computer science that you'll need to
Yeah, we're already getting into brain melting territory here. Yeah.
understand here. But I'm going to do my absolute best to help anyone who stumbles on this video be able to follow along.
Oh, that's good then.
First, one thing you have to understand is that in computers, everything is just numbers. I mean everything.
Well, I know that much.
Text, pictures, enemies in a game, the game code itself, it's
all
all
numbers.
just numbers. And those numbers are interpreted differently in different contexts.
Yeah, well,
For
yeah.
example, have you ever tried to open a file and you see something like this? This is what happens when you try to read something as text, which is not meant to be read as text. Or like the minus world in Super Mario Bros. Is literally the same thing. The game is reading data that is not meant to be level data to generate this level. And the numbers it finds there just happen to match up with the 7.2 area. So that's what we get.
Okay.
Or you especially can see this on the Famicom Disk System version of the game.
Right, I've heard about this. You can, because the minus world is kind of a famous thing in gaming. When you talk about the minus world, it's just this glitch where you just get infinitely looped in like a version of one particular level in this game. But there's a version of this game where you can just keep going down the rabbit hole of minus worlds and just keep making it progressively more broken.
Due to code changes they made to port the game to this disk, the game now finds different numbers when loading the minus world.
So
And
that's
those numbers clearly line up
It might have been a video by this guy that I watched on that a little while ago, actually, in my own time.
with the 1.3 area, but the area type being a water level, and especially the enemies, they are clearly a bunch of random data that's nonsensical and not meant to be level data. So yeah, as I said, everything in computers has a number associated with it. Every letter of text has an associated number. Every enemy in Super Mario Bros. Has an enemy ID. Every pixel in a picture
So I'm
has
assuming that
numbers telling the computer
manipulating
what color
those
that
numbers.
pixel should be. Now, this is also true
Somehow.
for code. Here's an example of some code that's in Super Mario Bros. The game's code is a list of instructions telling the game what to do next, all in order. Things like add these two numbers together, for example. Or one very important instruction is a jump instruction.
Okay, well,
it means jump over to this other
noted.
section of code, which should be ran now.
Can I get
like
a
if
noted
a piranha
in
plant
chat?
is on screen, we need to jump to the code for piranha plants. Every one of these instructions has a number associated with it. So like whenever the game is executing code and finds a 76, that's a jump instruction. And the next number it finds tells it where to
Hi,
jump
Megaman.
to. All right, following so far? Because here's where we get to how ACE happens.
Oh dear.
ACE basically means we have a way to feed the game exactly which numbers come next, or
Right.
which instructions it should execute. You may be familiar with ACE happening in some other games, and you've heard things like, we execute the position of enemies as code. Or in The Legend of Zelda, they
Yeah, so
execute
it's
the
like
file
a
name
specific
as code.
setup to
Or a very common one
to
across
mess
the
with these
board
numbers.
is executing controller inputs as code. What does this mean exactly, and how does it happen? Well, in computers, or on your video game cartridge, there are different sections of memory. One segment is where the game's code is stored, all the numbers the game is meant to execute as instructions. But then there are other sections of memory which aren't meant to be read as instructions.
And I assume
They're
you're
meant to hold
mixing them?
things like all the level data, the graphics, the music, stuff like that. And there's also a very important area of memory for what we're talking about today, which is called RAM. RAM is space the game can freely store
Can't buy that anymore. Too expensive now.
numbers to, and retrieve them whenever it needs them. So, like in Mario, how many lives do you currently have? That number is stored somewhere in
You
RAM.
did indeed hear
and when
RAM.
the game needs to update your life count, or check how many lives you have to know if you just game overed, it uses a particular spot in RAM for that. Okay, now here's the crux of all of this. ACE typically happens from the game executing code outside of the code segment of memory. Like, there's some glitch which
Right.
makes it jump here.
Okay, so my understanding, just to sort of catch us up a little bit and digest some of the information we've just taken in. So the game is supposed to be pulling from here when you do things. But we're making it pull from other segments that it's not supposed to do the wrong thing. I think. Maybe.
Segment of memory. Like, there's some glitch which makes it jump here and start executing all of the numbers that are currently here in RAM as code instructions. So again, let's say the game jumped to this spot in
My
RAM
neck
where
fan
your
just
number
pulled a
of
hair
lives
out.
is stored.
That
It's going
hurt.
to interpret your number of lives as the instruction it should do. This is where the arbitrary part of ACE comes in. We can control our number of lives, right? So we can now tell the game to execute any instruction we want. Like if
Right. Okay. Let me digest again, just real quickly. Okay, so it's reading the life count. And it's using that number to do other things that the game is supposed to do. So if you have a life count of like 9, you can make the game do whatever is assigned to that number in the code, I suppose, if that makes sense.
we had 76 lives, that will tell it to do a jump instruction.
Right, because the number 76 means jump.
I hope that makes sense, and you can see how we can control exactly what code the game executes once it has jumped to RAM. Now, one final key detail is it's really easy to crash the game during all this. Some numbers correspond to instructions that will just
I definitely didn't say that. I said 76.
crash the game. ACE is a very delicate thing, and we basically have to be perfect
XDC delicate.
to get the game to do exactly what we want and avoid crashing.
Yeah, look at this
Alright,
shit.
hopefully that all made sense. And now it makes sense to you if you hear something like reading the positions of enemies
I mean,
as code.
it made a little bit of sense, but like not. I'm kind of getting it, but I'm also kind of not.
Or your file name as code. That means the game jumps to the place in memory where your file name is stored.
Yeah, so the game is pulling from the memory and then using whatever number is in the memory with the line of code that's associated to it. So like he said, if you have the number 76 as your life count, it will run the jump code because jump is assigned to 76 as a number.
And then each one of these letters
Confusing.
corresponds to a specific instruction you want the game to run. Whew, we made it through explaining Ace. That's what it is, and that's why whenever games crash, speedrunners always start researching to check what happened. They want to see if the game's execution jumped somewhere that they could manipulate.
Bro, a game crash is a Mario Bros. Speedrunner's equivalent of a wet dream, bro.
Overall, Ace
We want the game to crash is the funny part.
is just a really cool and fascinating
'Cause
thing
it might
to
just lead
discover
to more
and figure
stuff.
out in any game. Okay, now let's get back to what happened with
3
Luigi's
interruptions.
sidekick in Mario 2J.
My man has
I'm now
been
going to
saving
explain
channel
what
points.
happened here, how it led to Ace in this game, and then we'll look at how the same concept could apply in SMB 1. Earlier, I joked about how this was found not by the brilliant minds of the game, but by a random casual player. But in all seriousness, it was the brilliant minds in the community. Luigi's Sidekick's post made its way around various Discord servers until eventually Simplistic saw it, one of our local brilliant minds. He saw a post from Takuika Ninja.
I gotta know how
who
people,
pointed
like,
out that this crash looked
understand these
promising.
things, like,
It looked
learn
like
to
data
understand
got
these
written
things.
somewhere from it. Simplistic immediately started looking into it, trying to replicate it and reverse engineer it. And pretty soon,
Like, what manner of, like, talent do you have to have in computer science to understand any of what is happening in, like, a game like this?
he traced the source of the crash. One of the enemy IDs became a weird value. Normally, enemies in this game are represented with numbers in roughly
Yeah, exactly.
the
Normal
0 to
players, when games
35
crash, they go
range.
smash,
when
but...
this crash happened, one of the enemy IDs became
I'm sensing an
84.
XDC coming. There it
Following the
is.
code symbol, we found out
I
exactly
sensed
what's
it.
happening. There's one particular function in the game's code which is only used for 2 enemies in the game, Long Firebars and Bowser. It's used for them because they are actually built in 2 parts. Long Firebars are basically 2 firebars stuck together, and Bowser is made up of a top half
Oh, damn.
and a bottom half. So what goes wrong in this function to cause the crash?
Bowser is actually just 2 pieces of a Bowser working together.
Well,
Lore
let's have
drop.
a little crash course on objects in this game. In my videos, I'll talk a lot about things despawning. This is when an enemy or object just doesn't show up where it's supposed to. In the game's
Gotta love
memory, there are spaces which we'll call object slots.
Let me just adjust my headphones real quick. Cause I'm getting sweaty under here. Turn this fan off for a minute because it's blowing my hair around as well. Yeah, Bowser is just a Bowser symbiote fused to another Bowser symbiote. It's actually just 2 halves making 1 creature. There we go.
There's 5 normal
Headphones
slots
adjusted.
and 1 special slot, which only certain things can go into, like power-ups or the flag on the flagpole. In general, if these 5 main slots are full,
We are
then no
Bowser.
enemies will spawn. Here, I'll use Lakitu to show this off. There's Lakitu and 4 Spinies on screen. So now no Piranha Plants will spawn in the pipes.
Interesting.
And Lakitu refuses to throw any more Spinies. Once I get rid of one, now he'll start throwing them again.
Okay, so every enemy takes up 1 of these spaces, and the only one that's left is dedicated to specific things. So...
And during all of this, we can still make power-ups appear because they use the special object slot, which isn't taken up by Spinies.
But I'm imagining, does this mean you can only have 1 power-up on screen at a time? I guess it's hard to get multiple on screen because there aren't many places where they're that close together, if I can recall.
So that's how object slots work. Now, the way the game keeps track of whether the slots are full or not
Thanks for the 20 stream streak, by the way, Mega
is
Man.
there's actually 2 lists. One list just says, is there something in this slot? Yes or no, with 1 being yes and 0 being no. See, everything's a number, like I said. Now, the second list of the 2 holds the exact ID of the enemies. So, Lakitu is 17,
Interesting.
for example. Spinies are 18, and so on. Alright, now here's what happens exactly when an enemy spawns in. It will mark the first list with a 1 to say something is now occupying that slot. And then it will write the proper ID of that object into the ID list. Bowser and long fire bars work a little differently, however. They come in 2 parts, right? The first half of them will mark a spot with a 1, like normal. But the second half will mark it with something like 84, a familiar number.
Well,
That's
damn.
how the game keeps track that this object is tied to one of the other objects.
Okay.
Okay, but now let's talk about what happens if all of these slots are full. I already explained what happens with regular enemies, but what about with Bowser and long fire bars? If the 5 slots are full and they try to load, they actually won't spawn either.
Just disappear.
But remember, they take up 2 slots. So that leaves the question, what happens if only 1 slot is open? The first half will go in that open slot, and the second half will go in the power-up slot, and everything's still fine. But okay, what if that slot is full too?
Looks a little it looks a little buggy there, but that might just be Super Mario Bros. Being Super Mario Bros. Because it does have some slight sprite issues every so often.
But
you notice that Bowser is jittering here
if that slot is
because he's actually not real. He's just a construct of our imagination, and he's an imaginary threat that we've created in our minds. Anyway.
full too. Now we're getting somewhere. The second half of a Bowser or long fire bar will simply keep going until it finds a space in memory with 0 in it. That'll pretty much always be within the first object
so
list.
it enters a waiting
line. If that
line.
list is all full, it will keep going past the object list.
Okay.
As it turns out, there's 1 spot of memory between the 2 lists, which is not used for anything.
Bowser's
so
not
our
real, he
84
can't
will
hurt
get
us.
written here. Either intentionally or not, this little bit of unused memory protects the 84 from getting written even further out of bounds. So, that didn't do anything. But what if we did the glitch again? Now that this spot is filled up, the next time around,
The next 84 just completely breaks the game.
Going until it finds another 0. This can get the number 84 written to somewhere that it normally should not be. And that is exactly what happened to Luigi's sidekick here in 2G.
Okay, that wasn't actually that hard to understand, to be fair. So the second half of a Bowser or long fire bar is an 84, and getting 2 of those 84s breaks the game, basically.
Alright, let's take a step back and summarize this glitch so far. Let's consider everything we need to make it happen. This glitch, which I'll call the object overflow glitch, it happens when all the object slots are full, except 1. And then we need to load either a long fire bar or Bowser.
And it just
Seems
breaks.
simple enough, but there's 2 big caveats. We need the power-up slot full, which we aren't able to do very often. And you need to do the glitch twice before anything will happen from it. Here, let's watch back Luigi's Sidekick's video and see all of these elements come into play.
Power up there,
Right here,
I see.
he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 objects on screen, taking up the 4 needed regular slots, plus this poison mushroom, taking up the power-up slot. Then he loads this long fire bar, and that's 1 overflow glitch
And
down.
there's our overflowed 84.
Now, this spot in 8-4 is a maze, where if you don't take the right path,
And then
the
he
room
just
loops.
repeats the room.
So he goes through the room again, has all
Does
the
the
same
same
objects on
thing.
screen, and bam.
And the firebar loading the second time creates another 84 that breaks the game. Okay.
Game crashes when he loads the long fire bar again. So yeah, that's what happened to him. But wait, what actually happens when you do this? Why does the game crash? How does this lead to Ace? Well, there's actually one final requirement for this to work, and it's that one of the enemies on screen needs to be a regular green Koopa. Not a red Koopa, not a Koopa Paratroopa, but just a plain
Bro,
Koopa
that's
Troopa.
specific as hell.
Green. The reason this is necessary is because green Koopas have the enemy ID of 0. So the second time doing the overflow glitch, when the duplicate firebar object is...
Oh, the 84 is replacing the 0 because it's a 0. The way he explained it, when a slot is empty, it's represented as 0, but if you fill it with something that has an ID of 0, the game thinks that that slot is empty and puts that spare 84 in here, which is what breaks the game, I
Searching
assume.
for an empty place in memory to go into, the first one it finds is the slot in the enemy ID list where the green Koopa is.
Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, enemies in this game are represented by numbers in the 0 to 35 range, and the game uses these enemy IDs to know what code it should run.
I think we should consider the fact that Peach is considered an enemy by this game.
There's this big list, which is
I wonder if that's gonna spark some of those old theories that Peach is actually evil.
used to jump to the appropriate code for each enemy. So like ID 10 will go to the 10th spot in this list, ID 11 will go to the 11th spot, and so on. And the way this works is the ID for a piranha plant will match up with this spot for move piranha plant. So the game will jump and go run the unique code for piranha plants. Okay, but with this overflow glitch, we're not giving the game an enemy ID between 0 and 35. We're giving it 84. That makes it read way past the list here. It finds a completely different value for where it should jump to than it normally would. And remember, that value tells it where it should jump to run code. That value tells it to jump to RAM. Ding, ding, ding. If you've been paying attention, you know what that means. The game will start executing whatever numbers it finds here in RAM as instructions, and we can manipulate those values in RAM. This is how Ace happens in this game.
I see.
After
Does not see, but I kinda get it, I think.
Simplistic figured this out and shared his findings, a bunch of very knowledgeable members of the community hopped on board. They got to work figuring out exactly what instructions we want to make the game run, and how to manipulate memory to get those instructions. In addition to Simplistic, we got people like 3Creepio, 100th Coin, SBD Wolf, and others working on this. And within 24 hours of Simplistic seeing Luigi's Sidekicks post, we have our first video proving the potential that this will work. Over the next couple
Oh, we just straight up broke the game,
of days, everything was refined.
Yeah, no, I understand. I kind of get it. I think that it's kind of a long-winded explanation, but if I had to simplify it, so we're creating an overflow. That's already confusing. I don't think I would be able to explain it properly, but I sort of understand what's happening here. So, oh, there's the ads, by the way. Gun those ads. Those pesky
Of
ads.
Simplistic seeing Luigi's Sidekicks post, we have our first video proving the potential that this will work. Over the next couple
Like,
of days,
I kind of got it,
everything was
but I'm also
refined,
like,
and the final product
it is taking
looks like
all of my
this.
mental
It
effort
looks
to
pretty funny, actually. Mario just jumps in the
to
lava
follow along.
and you win. A lot of people like to point out that this is basically recreating the box art for Super Mario Bros., which is a really fun coincidence. Jumping in the lava actually isn't an important part of the trick, though. The purpose of jumping down here is to take damage. Mario has to take damage as part of manipulating memory, and this is the fastest way to do it. But what is even hitting him? If you fall in lava in this game, you don't take damage, you just fall down and die. It's actually the long fire bar that's hitting him. When you do the overflow glitch, it gets a really weird hitbox.
Super long fire bar.
So yeah, that's what's actually going on
The longest fire
when he
bar.
jumps down here.
I might be long, but I'm dangerous.
Anyway, that's what's actually going on when he jumps down here. Anyway, there you have it. We jump straight to the Peach cutscene, and Ace exists in Mario 2J. This is a huge accomplishment. It's yet another 2D Mario game where it's been found. In a speedrunning context, this allows us to reach the ending cutscene an entire 19 seconds faster.
I mean, in speedrunning, that's a lot of time, to be fair. That's quite a lot of time.
Only place in the game to do it just happens to be the second to last room in the game. This room is just perfectly set up to make it possible. We have a long fire bar, a bunch of objects right before it, including this poison mushroom to fill the power-up slot, and this room loops, so we can do the glitch twice. If we go looking for anywhere else in the game to make this happen, remember, we need long fire bars or Bowsers. There are
Yeah, I'm kind of, like, the way I'm understanding how this overflow thing works, it seems like that room is just the perfect conditions to to set up this
several
glitch.
levels with long fire bars, and most of those are castle stages, which also feature a Bowser. But the real main issue is filling up all the slots when we need to, especially that pesky power-up slot. It's rare to get a power-up right before a long fire bar or Bowser. There is one place in the game which is actually pretty close, and that's 4-4. We don't have all the slots full at this first long fire bar, but there's another one down the hall. And there's also a mushroom right here, which we can just barely keep on screen long enough for the next fire bar to load in. The problem now, actually, is filling the regular slots.
Yeah, you need
there should be enough
a
with
green
this
Koopa as
Koopa,
well, don't you?
these 2 Goombas,
For
and
the
this
0.
small fire bar. But we can't actually get both Goombas to load. The first long fire bar is still loaded when it's time for the Goombas to come on screen, and it's hogging up slots, so there's not room for the second one. It's actually so close though. If we just moved this long fire bar a couple blocks to the left, we'd have it. But okay, let's just pretend that this worked. We would still need a second spot in the stage to do the overflow glitch. There is the Bowser at the end of the level, which we can easily fill up all the regular slots before. And
But
we can
you
even
need
bring a green Koopa with us over
there is
here.
one. Okay.
But again, the power-up slot is just too
No
hard to
power-up.
fill. There is a mushroom right here, but it goes off screen well before we reach Bowser. In some alternate universe where this worked out, here's what a speedrun of this game could look like. I built a silly looking bridge to bring the power up over toward Bowser, and voila! The game
there it
crashes.
goes. Yeah, so when
We
you have the
could
right
ace
conditions.
from here, which would save like 4 minutes. But that's not the world we live in.
Jesus,
So
what
with
is
that wishful
happening
thinking
here?
aside, 8-4 is all we've got. Let's now take a look.
Don't you just love it when Mario casually breaks reality? Just gotta love when that happens, you know.
At what speedrunners have done with it. Thanks to work from people like Lakuki, Nifsky, and Hitscrits, a viable method was found to do this in real-time runs. This setup uses the position of Mario's fireballs, this poison mushroom, and the position of this floating score number to make the correct ace
Bruh.
instructions happen. Here's an explanation I made previously to explain what goes into pulling all of that off. How many frame perfects? Okay, the jump off the first pipe is a 2-frame window. The jump into the coin block is a 2-frame window. The jump onto the pipe is a frame perfect 1-frame jump. So you have to flick the button so you get the shortest
Bro,
jump possible.
the timing from
It's
that
like
Who
double
Asked
frame
is
perfect.
crazy.
You have to frame perfectly jump for only one.
Again, this bot just
Then it's a
knows
frame
what it's
perfect
doing, dude.
fireball. Well, really B press so that you start running at the right moment. So like the floating score number despawns on the right pixel. Then it's a frame perfect A plus B when you jump into the corner. That pixel perfect despawns your fireball at the right position.
Bro.
And then it's a frame perfect fireball, then a blooper. And then it's a precise speed crouch jump into the poison mushroom block. It's just precise and like
So surely
really
this
hard
is
to control.
basically
And after all
like,
of that, you have a 3-frame window to land in the lava.
very,
like, to
very
let go,
difficult
jump
to
to
pull
land
off,
in the-
practically impossible.
So yep, that's how we can jump to the
But not
Peach
completely.
cutscene with arbitrary code execution.
Oh, my
this
fan
is
just
its own
died.
category, the ace category on the leaderboards. I know it's kind of weird, and no one thinks this is like actually the same as beating the game normally. It's just its own interesting thing
battery.
and amazing
Oh,
that it's
no.
possible at all.
That's fine.
Plus,
I've got plenty
it's
of
super hard if you couldn't tell. Nifsky
Plenty
was
of
the
wind.
first person to do this in a run with a 7:39, 12 seconds faster than the record without ace. A little bit
I might have to adjust my headphones again though. You know, if I could get like earplugs that like will fit in my ear, I would absolutely swap to those over these headphones. Be so much more comfortable and so much easier to adjust.
After that, I got a run that was just shy of a 738, and shortly after that, Scalpel got an actual 738. And then recently, I returned to the category and got a lower 738. So that's where the record stands today. There is one glaring mistake in the run, and more strategies you could add in to reach 8-4 faster, but it's just really hard to hit this at the end of a run. Still,
Again, dude, this it's the headrest part. It pulls on my hair. I have to get it in a very specific way to not make it do that. Not like that. Gotta love it. Let me just continue.
I think this could eventually go down to at least a 735 or so at some point in the future. Anyway, yeah, that's the story of Ace in Mario 2J. I think it's really cool, and hopefully you were able to follow along and understand how it works. But alright, it's time to move on. Everything up to this point has been a primer, so you can follow along with the second half of this video.
How to get it to happen.
It's time for what you've all been waiting for. Trying to make Ace happen in SMB 1.
Yeah.
One thing I do need to get out of the way right up front, you might be a little confused at this point. Maybe you've already seen this video by 100th coin of Ace happening in Super Mario Bros. Yes, there is a way to do it, but you have to do things in other games first, then swap cartridges over to Mario in order to make it work. We want to do Ace in just SMB1 alone, with no outside help. So, anyway, when Ace was found in 2J, people naturally asked, can this be done in SMB1? And the consensus has always been, no. There's nowhere in the game that you can do this. You need 2 long fire bars, or a long fire bar and Bowser, or 2 Bowsers. There's nowhere in the game like that. There's exactly 1 long fire bar in all of SMB1, and it's in 5-4. Sure, there's also a Bowser at the end of the level, but we're nowhere close to meeting the conditions for the overflow glitch, either with the long fire bar
I'm so locked
or
in
a
this
Bowser.
right now.
So yeah, there's nowhere in any of the levels that meets the conditions we need.
My brain is cooking,
not
trying
the
to follow
normal
along,
levels,
but
at
I
least.
think I'm
But
getting
maybe
there.
We could go to some kind of special level, a glitched level, maybe the minus world. No, that's not gonna help us. The minus world is just a copy of a regular level, 7-2. Okay, but what about that different version of the minus world on the Famicom Disk System version of the game? Huh, now this is actually a new level. But come on, I've seen minus world ending speedruns. I'm familiar with this. There's still nowhere to do the glitch. Sure, there's 1 Bowser right here, but we can't fill up slots before reaching him, and that's just 1 Bowser. There's only 1 Bowser. Oh man. What do we have here? 2 Bowsers? Wait, there's stuff past this flagpole? What all is back here? Well, even if this Bowser is here, we're still gonna need another one. Oh.
Yeah, that seems normal,
wow.
huh?
This
seems perfectly stable and functional.
Possible. Okay, but wait, there's that secret final requirement we need. We need enemy ID 0 for the duplicate object to load into. We need a Koopa? Oh man, there's 3 of them right there. Oh boy. Wait, I know. This one will do it for sure. What about the power-up slot? That's always really hard to fill, right? Oh, what's that? The star flag at the end of the level can go in the power-up slot? And it stays there? Permanently? Oh boy. What about the other enemy slots? Are those filled up enough? We gotta pull this level data up and take a look at this. Okay, there's a decent number of things near this Bowser. Wait, is that a long fire bar? Oh, dude. All right, what about the second Bowser? Wow, there's just a huge mess of enemies right there.
Okay, so the game is just the game is just basically handing them the ability to pull this glitch off at this point.
Definitely looking possible, inevitable. Like there's no chance with all of these factors that it doesn't work at this point, right? Wrong! Cut the theatrics. I'm gonna show you how insanely, massively, extremely frustrating this level is. It's like it conspired against us to be almost possible in every conceivable way, but it just won't
it's still
work.
not.
I'll
It's
show you
still
how
not
this
working.
Beetle right here and this princess right here, they've been ruining our lives for months.
I thought that was gonna make it easy, but
anyway, that was a taste of the emotions that I've had here working on trying to make Ace happen in World -1. 3Creepio reached out to me a few months ago to show me the situation, that there's a ton of stuff beyond the flagpole in this level that we can try to do Ace with. And I am serious when I say it is so insanely close in so many ways. Let me show you. First, let's look at what we're working with in terms of object slots. In some ways, it's actually pretty cool the way this works out here. See, Bowser
Don't
and
mind
these
me being
Princess
very
Peach
locked in
objects,
right now.
they always normally appear right at the end of levels. So here, when they appear in the minus world, they actually never unload when they scroll off screen. Because in normal gameplay, they never scroll off screen. so they'll fill up object slots
Oh,
permanently.
so they get
By
stuck.
the time we get past the flagpole, we already have 4 slots permanently taken up. 2 from the 2 princesses, and 2 more from this Bowser. We also have the power-up slot filled by the star flag that hides behind the castle, and that one never unloads after going off screen either. So all of this to say that when we reach this point, we're perfectly set up for the overflow glitch on this Bowser. 1 open slot and the rest filled. Nice. But wait, now all of the slots are full, and with the addition of this Bowser, everything in here is stuff that never unloads. So nothing is ever going to load again after this. How will we do the overflow glitch on the second Bowser? Well, there's a fun solution for this. Here, watch carefully when I kill Bowser with fireballs right here. Did you notice that?
Just
When he hit the
disappeared.
bottom of the screen, it wasn't just Bowser that disappeared. The fireball disappeared too.
Interesting.
Once Bowser falls all the way down, the game actually just deletes all of the objects. So here in the minus world, if
You
we
kill
defeat him
one
with
Bowser and it
fireballs,
clears
that will free
that.
up the object slots for us.
Okay.
And conveniently, this does not clear the power-up slot, which is huge. Now, let's go look at the next Bowser. We have to swim forward for a while until we reach him. We pass 1 princess on the way, which fills up 1 slot. Now, we just need 3 more objects when Bowser loads in, and that's boom, GG, ace. So yeah, let's head on over to Bowser, and this should be easy. Alright, we've got a blooper, a buzzy beetle. What?
And a Bowser.
That's it? There's no way we're short on objects. Weren't there 1 billion when we looked at the level data? Yeah, there are. That's so weird. A lot of them must not be spawning in. Alright, here's what's going on. The enemies and objects all come in an ordered list like this, and the game works on spawning them one at a time. Now, normally, the objects in this list would all be in a sensible order, from left to right. But let's consider, what would happen if they were out of order? Here, we've got a Goomba, and then a little ways past it, we have a Koopa. But the Koopa comes first in the object list. What will happen?
Okay, so it
Looks like the Goomba never spawned.
I see. So it's prioritizing whatever is before on the
Because
list.
the game is waiting for the Koopa to load in before moving on to work on spawning the Goomba.
Which
But
just
by the
doesn't
time the
happen
Koopa
because
loads, the place where the Goomba should load in is already well on screen.
Yeah.
If it loaded in now, it would just pop into existence out of thin air. That would be weird. I bring all of this up because that's our dilemma sometimes here in the minus world. Remember, we're in a glitch
So that
world.
list.
This list of objects is built from reading somewhere completely different in memory that is not supposed to be level data. So things are not in a logical order here.
So we messed up the order of the list here. So its priority is skewed.
Sometimes an object which is
And
farther to the
that's
right comes earlier in the list.
screwing things up.
And that's the case with this buzzy beetle. This buzzy beetle, man, it ruined everything. It appears in the list before this fire bar, which that one would actually be 1 block too far away from Bowser, so I guess that's fine. But the beetle is also in the list before these 2 Koopas.
Damn.
And it would have been really nice if they spawned, since, you know, we need a Koopa for Ace. And of course, Bowser is listed before these other 3 Koopas, so they can't help us out. This is a nightmare. There's so much stuff right here. We really can't fill up enough slots.
one buzzy
I showed
beetle
this
completely
situation
ruined
to
it.
a few other speedrunners of this game, and their first reaction was usually, oh, just turn one of those Koopas around. That's right. There are 3 Koopas which come just before this part. They show up a little too early, so they go off screen before Bowser loads in, but if we can turn one of them around, we're golden. So, how do we
Just
turn enemies
how
around?
is the question,
We're
yeah.
underwater, so we can't,
Yeah, you can't jump on enemies underwater.
can't just
so
stomp on them. But there is a mechanic in this game where you can turn enemies around by taking damage.
oh, when they hit you.
I've read in developer interviews that they wanted to make it look like Koopas were biting Mario, so they had them turn to face him. So yeah, if you run into them from behind, they'll turn around and continue walking toward you.
XDC from
Let's
behind.
do that to get
anyway.
these Koopas to follow us to the right.
Oh, they
It
just don't turn
didn't
around.
work?
Okay.
Is this some kind of sick joke? We are this close to making
They
Ace
just don't
happen
care,
in the
that's
original
hilarious.
Super Mario Brothers, and these Koopas just won't turn around? Because apparently enemies will never turn around when you're underwater.
Oh, damn.
Why?
The
My
water's
initial
screwing it
thought
up.
was, oh, it would be weird if you turned the Cheep Cheeps around in water levels.
Because
but
they
Cheep
swim in one
Cheeps
direction.
never turn around regardless, even if you
Oh.
somehow encountered one not underwater. I think this is, unfortunately, just a byproduct of the way they wrote the code for taking damage from enemies. See, when you touch an enemy, the game needs to decide whether you should stomp on that enemy or not. It checks if it's a spiny or a piranha plant, you know, the type of enemies that you shouldn't be able to stomp. And it also checks if you're underwater to prevent you from stomping enemies underwater. If it is an underwater area, the game skips ahead to the code for you to take damage.
Interesting.
The problem is, the code that makes enemies turn around when taking damage
Is also
comes
skipped.
after this check. It gets skipped over. No matter what, enemies will not turn around if you're in an underwater area.
Gotta love it.
Wow, that is really unfortunate. This was like the dream setup with the Koopas right here. But, okay, let's keep looking. There could be something else to do or some other way to pull this off.
Yeah,
Like,
so it
if
would
we could
work
bring
if you
some
could
previous enemy to
turn
the
that
right,
Koopa
maybe
around.
it would turn the Koopas around. Good thinking, except
They just
enemies
pass through it.
also don't turn each other around when
Yeah.
underwater. Fine, in that case, let's just keep going past this Bowser. Let's defeat him with fire to free up all the slots and keep going. Maybe there's another Bowser somewhere later? Is that wishful thinking?
I saw the last one.
Actually, it's not wishful thinking.
Oh, there is one
There
more.
is a Bowser later. In fact, there's 4 Bowsers
Oh.
later, with a bunch of enemies around them. But somehow,
They're
none
all
of
red.
these are
They're all
green
red Koopas.
Koopas. There is just barely this Paracoopa though, which you can kill with a fireball, and then the falling Koopa shell actually has enemy ID 0, which works.
Oh.
This spot works. You genuinely can do ace with this Bowser, which appears later in the level. The problem is that it comes much
Yeah, it takes
later in the
ages
level.
to get there.
Way too late.
It's basically just a
You
time
can't
waste at
get
that
there
point.
because you run out of
Oh.
time on the clock. Are you serious? It's one thing after another. We are so close.
Yeah, no, I felt that way through some
All right,
some
let's take a
sections of
step
this
back.
video as
What are
well.
our paths to victory? at
There are
this
some
point?
parts that I
We
sort of
need
get, and then other
either
parts
a
that I'm
way
just
to
like,
have more time on the
what?
clock to get
My
to the
brain
later
is just
Bowser,
melting, dude.
or a way to bring another enemy to the right on the earlier Bowser. For now,
Yeah,
let's
it
even
makes me
forget
look
about
like
it being
this.
a Koopa. If we
I
can
should
fill
keep
up
this
one
up
more object
for the whole
slot with
for the
anything,
for the rest
game
of
will
this
at
for the
least
rest of this
crash.
reaction.
And maybe there's another way to get ace from that. It would at least be a start. Anyway, those
Now
are our
I'll,
2 paths to making ace happen. And this is where we were at when I finished my last video and said this. Thanks to the brilliance of 3Creepio, ace is actually very close to happening in SMB1. And that's what I'm going to cover next. For a full breakdown of ace in 2J and how it might be possible in SMB1, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. The situation here is so close and so crazy that I planned on making this video no matter what, but I didn't know how it was going to turn out by the time this video
There's
was
still a
done.
decent segment
All I
of this
knew
video
was
left,
that
so
we were going
something's
to
gotta happen.
try. Let me walk you through everything we tried, and now you can experience the same roller coaster that we've been on. Here we go, starting with possibilities to reach the later Bowser. First, we tried to think of ways we could maybe freeze the timer. If you can get really high above the screen, the timer stops, but there's no known way to get up this high. If you fall in a pit, the timer stops. But even if you could somehow get out of the pit, the timer will just,
It would just restart.
If
Okay.
you grab the flagpole, the timer stops. Now, you can't take damage from most things after you've grabbed the flagpole, but you can take damage from fire bars. We
Can you
tried grabbing
freeze
the
the
flagpole,
timer?
then taking damage from this fire bar. But again, the timer just
Just
restarts.
restarts, okay.
I tried underflowing the timer by grabbing it at 0, hoping it would loop to 999 when it restarted. There's a similar glitch to this that can be done in castle stages. But it didn't work here. You just immediately die from having no time remaining.
Gotta love it.
Another thing that can hit you after a flagpole is hammers. I tried having Mario overshoot the castle so he would walk for a while with the timer stopped. and then take damage from a hammer to gain control again.
To get a little
This
bit
lets
of
you
extra
get
time,
quite a
but
bit farther, and
it's
you
not enough.
might even be able to reach where the Bowser is.
Whoa.
But all your object slots get clogged up along the way, and you also wouldn't have the fire flower.
Right, you don't have the fire flower to kill the Bowser to clear up the object slots anymore, so you can't do the glitch.
Shoot the Koopa at the end. Alright, well, if we can't reach the Bowser near the end in time, maybe we could bring the Bowser near the end to us. This sounds like a pretty outlandish idea, but wouldn't you know it, there is actually a glitch for this. In 2-player mode, if one player dies while climbing a vine, then a vine will grow when the next player loads in. In underwater levels, this actually causes a bug where the object list gets messed up. It starts
Interesting.
reading the list much later than normal. So essentially,
And it just
enemies
spawns
will
in a
appear
Bowser at one
sooner in
point.
the level than they otherwise would. This actually gives us some very interesting prospects. You know the Bowser with the 3 Koopas near it? Now it spawns shortly after the flagpole, and the Koopas spawn right between these blocks at the castle. One of them runs into the blocks and turns around. A Koopa walking to the right and a Bowser right here sounds like the dream. The problem is, this time around, this is the first Bowser we run into. We haven't set the glitch up yet. We can do the overflow glitch on this Bowser, but we still need another one. And now, there's that monstrous gap before the later Bowser shows up. We do have a lot of extra time here because we can start the level from the midway when doing the vine glitch, and this Bowser shows up a lot earlier because of the vine messing with the object list.
But it's still
Thanks
not
to all
enough.
of that, I got very close,
Yeah.
but died about 5 seconds away from
Damn.
reaching Bowser.
Getting
No
closer
way. Isn't this crazy, guys? This seems so possible, and we have ways to do a lot of what we need, but it just doesn't quite work out. We somehow have a glitch which literally moves this Bowser at the end closer to us, but it's barely not close enough. We also have green Koopas near this Bowser now, but we're not set up for the ace yet. Okay, but I'm not giving up. Those are the ways of trying to reach the later Bowser. Now let's make attempts at the other path to victory, bringing an extra enemy with us to the earlier Bowser. Again, I'll take anything at this point, even if it's not a green Koopa. The main challenge here is there's just not a lot to work with. All the enemies which we could bring to the right, like this blooper for example, seem to come just a moment too late. Before that, we have some Paracoopas, which we can't
you
stomp
can't
since we're
stomp
underwater.
on.
If we could, they'd follow us to the right. Then there's this Hammer Brother. These guys actually will start charging at you if you wait around long enough, but only to the left. They won't go to the right because of course they won't.
Yeah, because
Later on in the level,
it would be kind of strange if you could have a hammer bro just chase you down the whole level. Kind of funny, but kind of terrifying at the same time.
there are a few of these platforms which move to the right after you step on them, but they all come after the Bowser. All the ones earlier in the level are the kind that just
Bowser always comes first. You heard it here.
fall down. Another method of turning enemies around is to be on the right side of them when they land on the ground. We can get really far to the right side of the screen, and then any enemy that spawns in the air will turn toward us when it lands on the ground. There are a lot of enemies floating up in the air, so that seems pretty useful. Except, most of those are later in the level. Or these 2 Koopas near the Bowser, which again, never spawn. Then there's this Buzzy Beetle, which
You never know.
can turn
She
around,
might just,
but
she
it's
might just not
already
care.
right next to Bowser, so that doesn't help. And finally, there's this Goomba. We can be on the right side of this Goomba when it lands. Except, Goombas are like the one enemy
That
that
don't
doesn't
turn
turn
around
to
when
follow
they
you
fall.
when landing on the ground. How is this real? Okay, so taking a step back, the overall problem here is not having enough slots full when we get to Bowser.
So you know how I said that a crash with this game is like a wet dream for its speedrunners? This section, this glitch level, is like a tease for those speedrunners.
Right? And we don't have enough slots full because we kill this Bowser to wipe them all clean. So, another path to victory could be if we can avoid killing this earlier Bowser and still have slots open for the later Bowser. This basically means having things on screen when the Bowser loads in, which will then go off screen once we pass him and free up slots. With some effort, we can get this firebar to load in and still get the overflow glitch at Bowser. Now, when that firebar goes off screen, it frees up a slot. That should leave one open slot we can load the later Bowser
Interesting.
into, and that should be it. Oh, Hello
Oh,
there,
dear.
princess. Guess what? She instantly eats up this free slot and never unloads.
Gotta
Fine.
love it.
I figured out how to get these 2 fire bars spawned in, hoping we could have 2 free slots open after Bowser, and 1 still open after the princess. But you're
Another
not
one?
gonna believe this. This first fire bar goes off screen right before
damn.
Bowser loads in. If this fire bar was 1 block to the right, this would work. Come on. Well, wait, what about this long fire bar right here? That could take up 2 slots on its own. Or can't it itself be used for the overflow glitch? Well, it could, if it ever spawned. We got horrible luck here again, and Bowser is in the list before this long fire bar, so it will never appear.
Bro, it's just everything
The one
lining up
long
to
fire
make this
bar
just
in the
not
entire
work.
level is on the same screen as Bowser, and never spawns in. If it did, this would work. This section right here is so unfortunate. There's even more ideas I've tried and ways this is super close, but I can't even include them all in this video. It's seriously so absurd looking at this level that it doesn't work. Again, there's so many objects around this Bowser, including 8 Koopas, but we can't get any of them on screen. There's 4 Bowsers later, but we can't reach them. If this beetle wasn't out of order in the list, or if these Koopas were a little farther to the right, or if this princess wasn't here, or a multitude of other things,
it's a
we'd be
lot
in
to
good
process,
shape.
but
These are the kinds of things 3Creepio and I would
I'm
just
sort of
rant back
following.
and forth to each other about, as we would try to make this thing
excuse
work.
me.
Ugh, if this Goomba was any other enemy... Wait, huh? If it was any other enemy, we can make it another enemy. After you beat the game and play the new quest that Peach presents you with, all Goombas become buzzy beetles. Creepio, you're a genius. This is 100% going to work. We can play through the game to activate Quest 2, and actually, beating the Minus World on this version also triggers Quest 2, so that will be a lot faster than playing through World 8. And then, yeah, once in Quest 2, we'll go back to the Minus World, use one of several options to be on the far right side of the screen, and then the Goomba will be a buzzy beetle, which will follow us to the right. This is
Okay, so that improves
not sounding
things.
like it will be super fast for a speedrun,
No,
but
not
at
as-
this point,
not good
we
for
just
a
wanna pull
speedrun,
off
but-
Ace in Super Mario Bros. That alone would be huge. Okay, let's bring it over to Bowser, and there it is. The most beautiful crash screen I've seen in my life. Well, wait, now what? We don't have a Koopa on screen. This doesn't necessarily mean we can do Ace, because the glitched object
Right,
doesn't
gotta
overwrite a Koopa.
Gotta love it when my blooper
So
turns into a
where
shell.
does it go? It'll go wherever the first 0 is in memory, and that can be a few different places depending on what's happening on screen. For example, check out what happens if Mario is walking on the ground when we reach the crash. Ooh,
Oh, that's
pretty.
horrible.
That's an interesting result. This happens because one of the next spots in memory is Mario's action state, and walking on the ground is state 0, so the 84 goes there. Now, remember that big table I talked about earlier, which uses enemy IDs to know what code to jump to? Well, there's a different table that uses Mario's action state to know what code to jump to. If he's swimming, go to the swimming code.
Bro, he's just
If he's
throwing extra
climbing,
shit
go
in
to the
here for
climbing
shits and
code.
giggles at
You
this
get the
point.
idea. Mario's action state can normally be a number from 0 to 3, but we just made it 84. You can probably guess what happens next. This goes out of bounds, the game finds a completely different number from normal to decide where to jump to, and this does indeed jump to somewhere unusual. Alright, this is our chance, but it's not going to be easy, because this time, the place it jumps to is not RAM. The place we're executing code now is called the PPU registers.
PP.
This area of memory is
XTCPP.
used to control anything relating to the graphics, like drawing the background, scrolling the screen, stuff like that. What's actually here in memory changes
There it is.
wildly. It all depends on what is being drawn on the screen at that exact moment. Without getting too technical, just know that this area of memory will be very chaotic to work with. In fact, we're gonna need some help to figure this out.
that's a
So
lovely
I call
visual
in
result
100th
there.
Coin. There's no one better for the job right now. He's worked on other Ace projects, as I mentioned earlier. He knows how the NES works inside and out. And it just so happens that right before all of this went down, 100th Coin's other recent projects have required them to learn specifically about PPU behavior.
Probably works on
in
computer
this
science
region of
nerds.
memory. I catch
Not
them up
gonna
to
lie.
speed on the whole situation, and that's when 100th Coin informs us that this is going to be hard to test, because most emulators don't actually emulate the behavior of this PPU stuff perfectly. That's how niche and technical we're getting here. So, 100th Coin's first order of business is working on making emulators more accurate, so whatever solution we find will be a real
Bro,
solution
what is
that
this
works
table?
properly on original hardware. And in the meantime, I also bring SBD Wolf on board, another really brilliant mind in these situations.
We're out here rewriting the universe in a video game, dude. Like, what is happening here at this
SBD
point?
Wolf pretty much single-handedly
I've been
cracked
so
Ace
locked in that I just haven't
Pennsylvania a
had
couple years
anything to
ago.
say. Because
So
I'm
yeah,
like,
I gave
I don't
SBD
know
Wolf
what
the
to say.
rundown, and now, with the Ace Avengers assembled, they go to work. And boy, did they get
Sorry, the Ace Avengers is probably the funniest thing I've heard today.
busy. 100th Coin got emulators working accurately and has been trying to figure out all the possibilities of what numbers can be here in the PPU registers. Or, in other words, what instructions we can make the game run.
Yeah, no,
We
I
get
feel
an
so
initial
dumb
idea of
watching
some
this
of the
video.
instructions we can run,
but it's still
and everyone
interesting.
is bouncing ideas around of approaches we could take. But one small hurdle to overcome.
We have about 10
is
minutes of it left as
basically
well.
Everything ends with the game crashing. This group chat is a sea of jargon and technical ideas being thrown out, but nothing is seeming to land. They're working hard, trying to find some path that doesn't crash, some way to jump to another area of memory that's better to work with, just something, but no luck. SBD Wolf brings up a really interesting idea though. We could just let the game crash and then push the reset button. Because we're playing on the Famicom Disk System version, we have a unique opportunity here. The way the disk system works is it loads the game off of the disk and into this adapter that you plug into the cartridge slot. With a normal cartridge, you can't modify the data that physically exists inside the cartridge. But here, we can modify the data that's loaded inside this adapter. Essentially, this means we could run instructions which make one tiny change to the game before it crashes.
Did you
then
misspell
press reset,
BRC?
and that change will still be there. And maybe with one of these changes in place, that could lead to Ace? Maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's just see if this idea works at all. Up to this point, they've kind of been doing everything by hand, so they're not sure what all the possibilities are that we can do. But they have found one that should do something pretty interesting at least. One of the instructions we can run
That
looks
scared
like
me a little bit, that did actually.
routine, which is related to the screen scrolling. So when we scroll the screen, the game will probably crash. It looks like it should work, but now to make it happen for real. We set things up using the exact height of the blooper to affect what data is in the PPU registers at the moment the game crashes. We reset the game. Now, when Mario walks to the right, the screen will scroll and we'll see what happens. It crashes. The idea worked.
Yay.
And, you know, at this point,
we love it when our game crashes.
Actually technically done Ace. One single instruction of Ace. There it is. Ace in SMB1, guys. Woo, we did it. Well, it's a start at least. The next step was to verify that this works properly on console. I have a device that lets me replay inputs, so everything we just did to test this on emulator, I can play it back on a real NES. So, using that, I confirmed that it works. This is really fun to mess around with, and with each crash, the screen starts to look crazier and crazier. If nothing else happens from here, I was glad to at least have this to show you. We're certainly doing a glitch that has never been done before. But hey, we haven't tested all the possibilities yet. Let's keep looking now.
This visual,
even
this visual
crash
mess is
might lead to
pretty crazy to look
but
at.
also, there are more possibilities to explore with other changes we can make to the game by having different values in the PPU memory. At this point, 100th Coin was able to generate a list of all the possible instructions we could run which would have an impact on the game, and we started looking through to see what all of these would do. Most of them are pretty inconsequential. They change one block in a level, or just move an enemy or a platform or something. Some of them mess up the music.
Oh.
This one makes a foot appear above Mario when he dies.
Musician got a bit drunk there,
Very
I guess.
exciting. A few of them, though, are more interesting. This one corrupts all of the places where pits should be in the ground. This one makes Mario appear up in the air, even though he actually still interacts with things on the ground.
Okay, that's
And
kind of
this
freaky.
one makes coins rain from the sky.
Oh, that's a good one.
These are
We love that
pretty
one.
fun glitches, but so far, nothing that's going to help our cause. That is, until 3Creepio spots it. Or, wait, never mind. I guess it was useless. Just kidding. Apparently, it could be something big. I'm telling you, this whole thing was such a roller coaster
Bro.
to go through. Anyway,
The ups
Creepio
and downs
eventually
are
reports
crazy.
back on what he found. One of the possibilities is an instruction which corrupts this routine, which is used to update the digits at the top of the screen. Initially, he thought it was useless. We don't care if, like, the score gets messed up or the coin counter doesn't work properly. But wait, this actually also affects the timer in the top right. No way.
Can
it
we
never
freeze
ticks
the
down.
timer?
This is the infinite time trick we've been looking for.
Bro,
What are
all
the
of this
odds?
just to
We are
get
so
infinite
pumped up
time.
at this discovery. With this, we should be able
So
to
then
reach
they can
the
do
Bowser
the,
that's way far into
the
the
minus world thing
and have
again.
a Koopa on screen this time to do a real proper ace. We do realize one obstacle to overcome, and that's that, well, the timer doesn't tick down. Which means
Oh.
we actually can't beat any levels.
Can't get
game
to the
gets
minus
stuck
world.
waiting for the timer to tick down at the end. So how are we going to get back to the minus world? Well, there's a continue feature built into the game. If you hold A before pressing start, you'll start back on the furthest world you've reached. Since we already beat the minus world to make it to quest 2, the minus world is the farthest world we've reached. So we can just go back to the minus world straight from the title screen.
Bruh.
We're good. I can't believe it. It's actually happening. With infinite
Convenient
time, we
way
just
to
have
get to
swim
hell,
all the
basically.
way to this Bowser, fireball the Paracoopa, and we will have fun.
You know, that literally, it gives me the same vibe of that one Ghost Rider having a portal to hell in the trunk of his car.
Finally
It's
done
just
it.
casually just go to a broken
Oh,
world.
Dude, no way. We were so close, but we forgot. When we come back here from the title screen, we won't have the fire flower.
No way
We
to.
need that.
Damn.
The only thing standing in our way is having a fire flower here, or one single flagpole. The infinite timer that makes Ace possible in Minus World prevents us from completing 1-1 and getting back to the Minus World with a fire flower. It's our fault for jumping the gun a little bit, but still sad. There's no way we're gonna get another chance like that.
Well, there's
Simplistic points out that if we're Luigi, there's actually a few more possibilities for what outcomes we can get. I think the odds are pretty low we get another huge opportunity like the infinite timer, but we may as well check these out. Creepio notices that one of them corrupts a routine related to power-ups, so that one could maybe do something.
still.
This is so fortunate, guys. After so many close ideas not working out, we finally caught a break. Something did actually work. Ace is possible in Super Mario Bros. Let me summarize everything that makes it happen. First, we need to be on quest 2, so the Goomba is a Buzzy Beetle. The fastest way to do this is by beating the Minus World itself. Then, we need to make a trip back to the Minus World as Luigi. So, we pick 2-player game, die as Mario, and then run there as Luigi. We collect power-ups on the way. We
Luigi
get
is
past
useful.
the flagpole in the Minus World.
Huge
We
news.
get the overflow glitch on the first Bowser, and defeat him to free up object slots. We make sure to be on the right side of the screen to turn this Buzzy Beetle around.
Bro, he's
From
got
there,
a third
we
leg.
make sure Luigi is on the ground when Bowser loads, so the glitched object
point that out.
overwrites his action state. And code execution jumps to the PPU registers.
PP.
We make sure the data here at this exact moment gives us the right value, and we do this by using the height of the blooper on screen. This makes a 1 byte, or in other words, a very small, change to the game, which will remain when we hit reset. This change corrupts the routine of power-ups, so when they come out of blocks, we get a jump to RAM. And from here, we're kinda home free. We can control what instructions the game runs
Gotta love
because
it.
we can control what numbers are in memory when it arrives here. We're also already really close to the spot in memory where your current controller inputs are stored, so the number that will be here depends on what buttons you're holding on the controller. If we get here, we basically have total control over what instructions we can make the game run. We just have to make sure the game doesn't crash before reaching this point. Things like the background scenery of the level will affect this and can cause a crash. But if we set up memory perfectly by picking a level with a good background scenery value, moving enemies to good locations, scrolling the screen to a good spot, and moving Mario to a good spot, then we can make this happen.
And it just beats the game, huh? That's pretty cool.
There you have it. We win. I know it looks pretty weird. If you don't like this, we could tell the game to load us into the very last room of 8-4 instead. And we can make Mario swim in the air. We can do whatever we want.
Yay.
The point of Ace is that it's awesome. At the end of the day, it's not meant to compete with regular runs. It's just amazing that it works at all. But speaking of competing with regular runs, the time that all of this takes is 5:15. About 20 seconds slower than beating the game normally. Ace in 2J saved 20 seconds. In this game, it loses 20 seconds.
Gotta love
If
it.
someone can figure out how to set up the glitch in Minus World without power-ups, we could avoid running
Hi,
through
Lunama.
1-1 and 1-2 with
Thank you for the
Luigi,
raid.
and that would save a bunch. Or better yet,
Appreciate
figure
that.
out
We're probably not gonna be here for that much longer because I was planning to do a very short stream just with this reaction here, but I appreciate that.
how to do this
Thank you for
in
that.
Quest 1, and that will save minutes. It is
How was your stream? Was it good? I'll stick around a couple minutes here and hang on, let me I think that's the right one, and then I can do that. Is that right? Yes. Did some celesting. Ooh, I haven't celested for a while. Maybe I should go back to Celeste at some point. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, we've been following this video and it's been like stupid hard to follow along with because it's a bunch of technical like glitch stuff. I admittedly just haven't had a lot to say because I've been so locked in on trying to figure out what the hell we're even supposed to be understanding here. All you need to know is that Mario can rewrite reality. That's it.
insanely close after all, but you already know that because you watched me talk about it for half an hour.
Yeah, literally, it's literally
well, we'll
us
see
as
what
just
happens
that
with this in the
emote.
future. What's important right now is we did it. I'm so happy to report that Ace exists in Super Mario Bros. And this works on completely original hardware.
Yeah, it's
Here it is working
very
right
confusing
now.
stuff.
This was quite the journey. Sure, we got really unlucky at certain points, but we also did get lucky at others.
Just an hour
this
of brain
buzzy beetle
melting.
is
It's
super
been
preventing the Koopas from spawning.
something
but
for sure.
honestly, we're lucky that this Bowser wasn't
You're coming in at the end of this video here, looking at this shit, probably wondering what the hell is going on screen right now, and I don't think I could explain it at all.
from spawning.
We've been
Or
here for
that
an
there even
hour
is
and
a
I have
Bowser
learned
here, Or a
nothing.
Minus World in the first place. We're lucky that this is on the Famicom Disk System version, where we can reset and keep the changes that happen from the glitch. And we're of course very fortunate that this power-up corruption led
Yeah,
to
the old
Ace.
school setup is cool though.
Alright, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for coming on this journey with me all the way to the end. I know it was long, but this story needed to be told, and this was about as short as I could
It's
make
been a
it.
whole thing.
And there were
It's
even more
literally,
details I
again,
could
it's
have
been an
shared.
hour
I'm
and
gonna
I
be
just
releasing
have
a
learned
video
nothing.
on my Patreon covering some more interesting details or things we tried in the Minus World that were close. Okay, now just a couple final thoughts. First, I want to give a big shout out to those who helped make this possible.
Like, there were
especially
there
the
were
top
small
3
pieces that I
contributors.
understood,
3
but
Creepio,
other than that-
100th Coin, and Simplistic. And an extra shout out to 100th Coin. If you're curious about the more technical details of all of this, he's currently working on a video that will talk a bit more about this, among other very technical things about this game. And finally, you can expect some fun demonstration
I think
videos
we on
coming
our
out from
limited
this
brain
soon,
capacity
like
will
a full
avoid
game
that one
task
for now.
Speed, and other tasks which just show fun things you can do with this. For example, like I said, the possibilities are endless.
Bruh.
All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Well, there we have it. That's loud. Yeah, so the plan for today was literally just like do a short stream just for that video because it popped up on my recommended. And I wanted to watch it because I was interested, and then we actually we did watch it, and not entirely sure what the hell just happened, but there we go. That's that is that video done. So I think I'm probably going to head out here now. Yeah, literally there were 2 minutes left on the video when you raided in, which is kind of hilarious. But it's fine. I'm not gonna lie, like, I had a few moments where I just, like, I had absolutely nothing to say about what was happening because I couldn't either think of what to say because it was too confusing, excuse me, or I was so locked in on trying to focus and follow along that I didn't have enough brain capacity left for words. But it was still interesting, at least. It's still cool to see people breaking down that game, despite the fact that it's so old at this point. My drink has run out. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this stream, just because we're doing shorter Sunday React streams now, so I think that's gonna do it for today. Just a nice quick one, a nice little quickie, as one might say. Anyway. Yeah, I do appreciate you raiding in, even if it was right at the end of the stream here. It's just unfortunate timing. But I'm gonna head out now. So I'm going to, yeah, phrasing by the way, yeah. No, that was intentional. Just to make that make you aware of that. But yeah, I'm gonna head out. I don't really have any particular raid targets right now, so I think I'm just gonna disappear in a nice anticlimactic sudden vanishing, as we do sometimes here. Especially since it's pretty early. It's very early here, so yeah, I appreciate everybody for stopping by, even if it was only for a couple minutes at the end of stream here. Do appreciate the raid once again. But yeah, I will get a schedule up at some point in the Discord next week. If you're not in the Discord, feel free to stop by. You can find me posting schedules in there and being freaky, I suppose. There's also that. But anyway, have a good rest of your day. Appreciate everybody for stopping by, no matter how long it may have been for or when in the stream it was. Oh, I'm gonna be laughing about that for a little while. But anyway, have a good one. Yeah, I'll get a schedule up next week. We'll see what we're doing. I'll probably manage to pick out some more React stuff to do. Apparently Hundo has something to talk to me about, and I don't know if it's I don't know what it might be, but apparently it's good news, so we'll see what comes of that. Anyway, have a good rest of your day. Thank you for stopping by, as always, and I will see you whenever I see you. It will depends on whether I do another 3 or 4 days next week, so I'll get a schedule up for that. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye, everyone.